Hey, Krista.
Hey girl,
We're back.
we're back. It's been a bit. Back with exciting stuff.
We are. We're back, but in like a different way.
Yeah, let me clue the listeners into what we're doing this time in terms of the Christmas spirit and the holidays. We're going to do 12 pods of Christmas. So every day from now until Christmas Eve's Eve, we're going to give you a daily dose of Krista and Sarah talking about fun things as you guys get ready and prepared for the holidays, which are super fun but super stressful.
Every day. Okay, so today is the first day of 12 pods. So what are we talking about today?
I think it'd be really good if we talked about corporate slang. I know most of us are winding down, just getting ready to start our Christmas holidays with our family. And if anything now, the corporate slang is buzzing, right? The sleigh bells are ringing and the corporate slang is a buzzing. And it'd be good for us to talk about some of our favorites, some of our favorite things.
Yeah, because corporate slang is like a different language. I feel like there needs to be like a class or a course in school about like corporate slang 101, because like you walk in and you're like all these random words are coming at you and you're like, what do you mean? So let's chat about some and see if you and I know all of them or not.
Yeah. Do you have a fave that you want to start off with, or do you want me to?
Tell me yours first.
The first one that drew my attention, which is one that we've been using a lot lately, is low-hanging fruit.
God, I hate that one.
For those that are new to the corporate world, low-hanging fruit is you have a problem or something that you need to solve for, and they're like, what are the easiest things to pick and resolve very quickly? It's also known as, Sarah, a quick win.
Okay, so why do we say low-hanging fruit? Like, who came up with that?
Boomers. You know what else was the low-hanging fruit? The forbidden fruit that Eve ate.
Like, so bizarre how, like, can you imagine someone straight out of school went to a meeting and they're like, yeah, so about low-hanging fruit. They're probably like, what? Like, you've been in the corporate world longer than I have, but like,
yeah,
being someone fresh off the boat or fresh out of school or whatever is like, what are you talking about?
It's interesting. I mean, yes, I've been in the game a little bit longer than you, but we never use these slang terms as much as we're using them today. Like when I first started in my first job, like these things weren't happening. Like companies had their own language, but now I guess as we move faster into like fintech and startup, like this has become the norm. That's like been a contagious thing that's spread out outside of like a regular startup. Because I didn't use this shit 20 years ago.
Yeah, well, like there needs to be like a thesaurus or something for corporate slang, because like it's so much. Okay, so we have low hanging fruit, which is, so did you say this in the corporate world?
I rarely use it. I mean, we definitely use it. I try not to use them as much as possible, but people only understand when you use corporate slang. So if I feel like they're not going to understand my words, then I will. Like,
can you imagine saying that like in your personal life?
I mean, sometimes if you're so embedded in your work, you easily can, right? Like,
this one's a funny one though. Like this one is like, okay, come on.
I mean, one that I could say that people probably use in both personal and work life is ping.
Oh, 100%.
I'll ping.
Yeah, I'll ping you. That means like I'll message you. I'll send you a message over like Slack, Teams, or whatever. Oh yeah, I say that constantly.
Yeah. That one probably doesn't have as much of a judgment, but I also want to touch on like there's cultural differences, right? Like you could be coming from another place and then you come here and then you're using all of this language. Like it's not all of it is intuitive.
Mm-hmm. No, it's so true.
One that I use also in my personal and work life is touch base.
Oh yeah, to connect or reconnect with somebody. Absolutely.
Yeah,
and that's a normal one, and that's a good one that like everyone will understand it. Everyone, like you said, uses in their personal and their corporate life. Like that's a normal phrase or a normal word. So that's a fine one. I accept that one.
Yeah, I think touch base can evolve into touch point, which means bringing up like either a regular meeting or an ad hoc meeting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
One that I think existed prior to corporate slang that existed that was brought into the corporate world is think outside the box. I would say I definitely would have used that before.
Yeah.
I wasn't a stranger to that. And now I don't think I actually hear think outside the box anymore at work. They probably think that's too specific. That's too on the nose.
I'm sure they have another word for that now.
Yeah.
And maybe they use that in school. I feel like they maybe use that one in school. Like, try to think outside the box for this assignment.
To encourage like critical thinking or something.
Yeah.
I think what they use now, probably it's not the same as think outside the box, is like zoom in and zoom out, or like click.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. It's not the same. It's those definitions aren't like the same. Think outside the box, but like double clicking into something like deep. I think maybe this is more similar to deep dive.
Yeah. Deep dive is like, thoroughly examining or like analyzing a topic or something. So yeah.
So going beyond the anecdotal.
Yeah. I think like the corporate slang word over the past maybe year or two, ready, is synergy.
Fun fact, I use synergy in interviews.
No, you don't.
I don't use it in the corporate world. I use it.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, that's so funny.
That's synergy. It's like talking about things in common, things that have overlap, things that work well together. It's a good word, especially in an interview. Be like, what made you apply for this position? Well, looking at my skills and experience against the job description, I see many synergies. And they're like, yeah,
she's using like words, like cool words.
Check mine. I don't have to get into specifics, right? I've just kind of generally one I use a lot is broad stroke.
Yeah. Broad stroke?
Broad stroke. That might be just a Krista though. Broad stroke is me. I say that when I want to generalize something or like keep it like not incredibly detailed.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Got it. I think the one that people have been using, or the ones that people have been using for a while, are circle back, deep dive, like you mentioned, and bandwidth. Oh, I feel like I hear that word like almost every day. Do you have bandwidth for that? I don't think I have bandwidth for that.
Oh, I definitely would. Advocating for my team, I definitely say we don't have bandwidth.
Yeah.
What are we, radios?
Okay. Truly, it's like, isn't there another word?
Oh gosh, there's so many.
Action item. I feel like, yep, that one comes up in like meetings, exec meetings, one-on-one meetings. Oh, this is an action item. It's like, okay, yep.
I think that one's a necessary one because some people always assume that like meetings are just conversations and then you should just get up and leave the meeting and go about your day. I think action item in itself, it's like you need to take an action.
Yeah.
One that's not used enough, I feel like, is take it offline. One thing I can't stand in a meeting is when people go into side conversations and I'm like, I didn't even want to be in this mother. And now you're telling it. Now
take it offline. Take it off this meeting and like talk privately somewhere else.
Yeah, or schedule another meeting.
But I feel like
without me.
Truly, yes, absolutely. I agree with that. But do people really do that? Do people really take it offline and have a separate meeting to talk about whatever they want to talk about?
No, they continue to talk about it in the meeting.
Exactly.
And sometimes you'll tell people to take it offline when somebody's arguing in the call, right? Like somebody's like providing too much pushback on something. So you're like, can we take this offline? Because like you're embarrassing me and I can't tell you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah. So like shut up and let's just move on. Yeah, pipeline's a good one.
Yeah.
It's about pipeline. What's coming up? What are you working on?
I don't feel like I understood that one until recently. Because I'm like, pipeline? What the I don't lay pipe.
So yeah, why can't we just say what's coming up? What's happening? What are you currently working on? But you have to say what's in the pipeline? Like what?
What I used to use with an older team is like what's on tap. Right? Like that it's like it's not corporate at all, but it's like when you go to the bar, it's like what beer's on tap? Like what do you have?
Totally. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. This one's a funny one. And I've heard this one numerous occasions. Run it up the flagpole.
Oh, we don't use that one.
Really? I've heard a lot. Again, but like, why can't we say something else for that? Like, that's so specific. Running up the flagpole? Oh my God.
Except like that, to me, is not intuitive. Like, we're running it up the flagpole to show everybody it. Like, I don't generally run any flagpoles on a daily basis in my life.
Right.
It's the custodian of the school or the building that does that. So why would that mean something to me?
Truly.
Going forward, that's a big one.
Yeah. That's a classic. I think that's a classic one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going forward, and like, what are the best practices? Like, classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
My favorite word at work, it's like my middle name, is pivot. Because they'll be talking about something in a meeting and I want to change direction, so I'll be like, I'm gonna pivot for a second because like I'm not interested in whatever they're talking about anymore.
Yeah. That's a classic one.
Yeah, and it makes me think of the Friends episode, which is funny as well.
Pivot. Absolutely.
One that I feel like is redundant is close the loop.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
A loop by definition doesn't have an end.
Yeah.
So we just like to say things that make no sense. This is why people struggle to learn English.
And I feel like people just say all of these words in the meeting and everyone's just like, what? What are you talking about?
Especially as you get higher up in leadership and you're one of what they call the C-suite.
Oh my gosh. Which is what, Krista?
C-suite refers to anybody that has a chief in their name. So it refers to the executives that are chief financial, chief technology, chief people officer, chief information officer, chief security officer. Any one of those is a C-suite.
And also, like, ramp up. Why do we say that?
I love a ramp up. Because what we're really saying is we're going to create this ramp that's extraordinarily high for you to catapult off of and crash. Because, like, a ramp gives you lift, but most of the time, like, there's nothing in the pipeline to catch said person.
Exactly.
We're going to shoot you off into the sky.
You know what, Krista? We should just create words and then create definitions for them, and then we'll both say them in our corporate jobs and then see if any of them catch on. Like, honestly.
Well, I do that I try and do that. Like, what's on top. I try and change anything that they say because I don't like what they're saying. So I do try and do that.
Yeah.
Can we talk? I think these are our top 20, I feel like we've just talked about, right? But can we just talk about one that I found has actually changed meanings based on the way that I know it, based on the way Gen Z knows it, and based on the way it's actually used in the office? Out of pocket. Okay. So out of pocket is a term. I know out of pocket as a like a slang term to mean you're saying something that's out of line. That's how I've used it growing up. That's how we use that term. You're acting out of pocket. Out of pocket today in corporate world, I guess for some people, is when you're unavailable or out of the office.
What? That makes no sense. No.
So now let me make it more complicated. For a Gen Zer, out of pocket means an expense that you had to pay for that you didn't have enough money for. Like your out of pocket medical expenses.
Yeah.
What?
Words.
Yeah, these phrases are ridiculous. Ooh. Honorable mention goes to the corporate slang word deck.
That's Krista's favorite word. She says that 100 times a day.
Because I have to do 100 of them.
Why don't we say deck? Like, why don't we say presentation? Why don't we say
slides?
A slideshow? Why don't we say I'm presenting something? Why do we say deck?
I don't know. For some reason in our minds, we're like, it's like a deck of cards. So we're just going to say deck. We always want to say the least amount of words, but like the least amount of words, but it's the most important thing that we're talking about, that we've given you the least amount of words. So we want to synergize and ramp up for what's coming down the pipeline and optimize on it. We don't want to put anything on the back burner. We want to double click. And then we want to circle back with a deck.
Like, and in my mind, I'm trying to like do the definitions of what you're saying. So I'm trying to like understand what you're saying because it's a completely different language.
Right. Google Translate needs to have an option for corp.
Yes, exactly.
Well, those are our favorites.
Yeah, and I feel like there's so many other ones, but we just like hand selected a few, but there are probably like 20 or 30 more. But we just wanted to touch on a few that make us laugh.
Yeah. So we want to hear from those that are in the corporate world or otherwise. What are some of your favorites that you love to use? And what are the ones that you wish could be like buried deep, deep into the heart of the earth and never to be used again?
Exactly. Well, I guess this is the end of the first 12 pods, and I will maybe see you tomorrow for day 2 of 12 pods of Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. As always, if you like what you hear, definitely follow us and leave us a rating. We love to hear your feedback. You can comment and follow us on all the socials. In our podcast descriptions, we put links to all our social media channels, so you can follow us there. You can auto-download our episodes so you never miss an episode. But luckily for you, we'll be back tomorrow doing it all again for the 11th day of Podmas.
Sounds good. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, girl. Bye.